The first strike came at dawn. 1,000 alien vessels broke the clouds like daggers of silver and flame, their engines screaming across the skies of Earth. Cities trembled. Satellites went dark. Humanity's defenses, fragmented and scrambling, fell silent under the onslaught of orbital bombardments. In less than a week, the alien armada, calling themselves the Zorath Dominion, had reduced half the planet's military might to dust. Their soldiers, tall and glass-skinned with veins of molten light, descended from orbit in waves. Each one moved with eerie precision, their armor humming with living energy. They expected the end of humanity to be swift. It wasn't. In the smoking ruins of Kyoto, a single human unit, the 7th Terran Rangers, held their ground. Captain Elias Rourke, the man known as the Iron Ghost, stood at the forefront of the rubble-choked avenue. His exosuit cracked, his weapon glowing red-hot from overuse. Around him, the surviving soldiers were down to their last magazines, their armor scorched from plasma fire. The alien commander, a Zorathian called Veil Kor, approached through the smoke with the confidence of a predator. His blade, an elegant shard of energy, humming like a live wire, extended with a crack of violet light. He regarded Rourke not as an enemy, but as a curiosity. "Human," Veil Kor hissed, his voice carrying through the translator in Rourke's helmet. "Your resistance is admirable. Futile, but admirable." Rourke didn't respond. He spat blood into the dust, his eyes hard behind the cracked visor. "You could have surrendered," Veil Kor continued. "You could have lived under our rule. But you chose extinction." Rourke gave a low, humorless chuckle. "You came to the wrong planet for obedience." With a roar, the alien raised his blade, and time seemed to slow. Rourke sidestepped, his instincts honed by years of brutal training, and his hand shot up mid-swing. The plasma blade, white-hot and lethal, stopped dead in his palm. The onlookers, both human and alien, froze. The energy hissed and crackled around his armored gauntlet, but the metal didn't melt. His neural implant screamed warnings, his vitals spiking, but Rourke didn't flinch. With one motion, he wrenched the blade free from Veil Kor's grip, spinning it, and drove the alien's own weapon through his chest. The commander fell to his knees, his luminous veins dimming like fading embers. For the first time since their invasion began, the Zorath felt fear. From orbit, their commanders watched through tactical feeds. The Dominion had crushed hundreds of worlds before this one. Never had they seen a species that fought back after surrender was inevitable. Never had they seen one of their elite warriors fall to a being so primitive. They watched Rourke through flickering drone footage, standing amidst the wreckage, one hand bleeding through shattered armor, eyes cold and steady. Around him, human soldiers began to rise again, shouting his name. "Rourke! Rourke! Rourke!" It spread like wildfire across the battlefront. A single moment, a blade caught in midair, turned into legend. Far above, the Zorath High Command hesitated. Should they continue bombardment? Should they risk ground combat with such unpredictable creatures? But the humans were already adapting. Within hours, Rourke's combat footage circulated through every surviving outpost, broadcast by makeshift transmitters and hijacked satellites. Soldiers who'd been retreating turned back. Civilians picked up scavenged weapons. The spark had been lit. 3 days later, at the base of Mount Fuji, the 7th Rangers regrouped with remnants of the Pacific Defense Corps. Rourke limped into the command tent, arm in a sling, still wearing the cracked armor he'd caught the blade with. General Alani Singh looked up from the tactical holomap and nodded grimly. "You're the man of the hour, Captain. You made the aliens hesitate." Good, Rourke said, lowering himself into a chair. Let's make them regret it. He leaned forward, scanning the holographic projection of the planet. Blue icons, remaining human forces, blinked weakly under a sea of red Zorath markers. They've got numbers. Firepower. Orbitals, he said. But they don't understand what they're fighting. And what's that? Singh asked. People with nothing left to lose. Meanwhile, on the Zorath flagship orbiting Earth, Supreme Strategist Troll Ven studied the same footage. He replayed the moment, the human catching the blade, over and over again. His sub-commanders shifted uneasily. Perhaps the gravity fields malfunctioned, one offered. Or his armor absorbed the energy discharge, another suggested. But Troll knew better. The human had reacted before the blade struck. His eyes had tracked it with impossible precision. He had moved faster than any Zorathian soldier could predict. Troll narrowed his luminescent eyes. This species learns too quickly. They must not be allowed time. Shall we deploy the planetary eradicators? A general asked. No, Troll said coldly. That would make martyrs. Destroying a world rarely destroys its spirit. He paused, looking down at the swirling blue planet. No. We break them from within. Let them see their heroes fall. But deep inside, even Troll felt the first whisper of doubt. Night fell again over the scarred Earth. In the ruins of Kyoto, humans rebuilt their forward positions using alien wreckage. Salvaged plasma rifles hummed alongside Earth-made ballistics. Engineers wired Zorath technology into human frames. Rourke sat by a flickering fire, turning the captured plasma blade over in his hands. Its energy pulsed faintly, almost alive. He'd seen too many battles to believe in destiny, but something about this moment felt bigger than him. Sergeant Imani stepped over, offering him a ration pack. You know they're calling you the Blade Catcher, right? Rourke smirked faintly. I preferred Iron Ghost. Well, too late. You're a legend now. He looked up at the sky, still glowing faintly with orbital ships. Let's hope legends can bleed, he muttered. We've got a war to win. End of Part 1. Part 2. The moment the galaxy learned fear. The dawn that followed was not golden. It was red, a reflection of the burning sky, where Zorath warships blotted out the sun. The air shimmered with heat from their engines, and the ruined cities below pulsed like dying embers. But humanity had changed. Every outpost, bunker, and broken streetlight had become a fortress. Civilians turned soldiers, engineers turned tacticians. The story of the Blade Catcher had spread beyond borders, beyond languages. Even those who had once given up whispered it like a prayer. He caught a blade midair. They're not gods. They can bleed. Across every front, that whisper became defiance. In orbit, the Zorath Dominion unleashed their next phase. The Harvester Legions, biomechanical monstrosities bred to consume both matter and memory, erasing entire histories from the soil. They descended in synchronized formation, six-legged and armored in obsidian scales, each one a walking apocalypse. The city of Shanghai was their first target. Human defenses collapsed under their plasma bombardments, until Rourke and the 7th Rangers arrived. The rain fell in molten drops as dropships screamed through the clouds, flanked by jury-rigged drones painted with human graffiti. Not today. Try us. The ghost lives. Rourke led the charge. He hit the ground running, armor patched with scavenged alien plating, holding the captured Zorath blade, now fitted to a Terran power core. Every step he took sent tremors through the soaked earth. Rangers on me, he barked. For Earth, they roared back. The harvester ahead unleashed a beam that vaporized a building, but Rourke didn't break stride. He sprinted through smoke and ash, sliding beneath its molten limbs, planting charges along its underbelly. When he vaulted out, the explosion lit the horizon like sunrise. The alien machine collapsed, and the human lines erupted with cheers. One victory, then another, then 100 more. Troll Ven, aboard the Zorath flagship Echelon Prime, watched as the tide began to turn. He could not understand it. Humanity had lost 70% of its infrastructure, 60% of its population. By all logic they should have broken. Yet the opposite had happened. The humans adapted faster than the Dominion could analyze. They studied captured weapons, mimicked alien tactics, and improved on them. The Dominion had superior technology. But the humans had something no machine could replicate. Instinct, will, rage, and a strange unity that even Trollus' ancient empire couldn't quantify. "This is impossible," one of his lieutenants hissed. "They are insects. Primitive." Troll's gaze darkened. "Then tell me why the insects are winning." The turning point. Operation Skyburn. 2 months into the invasion, humanity struck back. Using hijacked Zorath satellites and fragments of their own orbital defense grid, the Terran coalition executed Operation Skyburn, the first human offensive beyond the atmosphere. Aboard the human flagship Resolute, General Singh and Captain Rourke stood side by side. Earth loomed below them, scarred but defiant. "You sure you're ready for this?" Singh asked. Rourke adjusted his armor, now carrying hybrid Zorath tech. "I wasn't ready the day this started." "Doesn't matter. Their target, Echelon Prime itself. It wasn't just revenge, it was a message." As the human fleet surged upward, their weapons lit the void. Salvaged alien plasma cannons fired alongside repurposed nuclear warheads. The Dominion's shields buckled under the chaos of human unpredictability. Every ship that fell was replaced by 2 more, launched from hidden bases around the globe. The humans weren't fighting for victory anymore. They were fighting to prove a point. On board Echelon Prime, alarms screamed. Troll ordered every weapon to bear on the Resolute. "End this! Burn their fleet from the stars!" The flagship's primary cannon charged, a lance of white light forming at its core. But before it could fire, a boarding signal flashed through the internal comms. A single human dropship had rammed the side of the Dominion ship. Rourke and his strike team had breached the hull. They stormed through corridors of shimmering metal, cutting through resistance like wildfire. Zorath soldiers met them in droves, but every engagement was the same. Efficient, brutal, human. The blade Rourke carried pulsed brighter with each clash, feeding on the Dominion's own energy. Finally he reached the bridge. The doors parted, revealing Troll Ven, tall, elegant, and ancient. He regarded the battered human through luminous eyes. "You are an anomaly," Troll said. "You fight without logic. You defy extinction." Rourke stepped forward, blade humming at his side. "That's what life does." Troll tilted his head. "You cannot win. Even if you destroy me, our empire spans galaxies." Rourke smirked faintly. "Yeah, but I only need to kill the idea that you can't be beaten." He lunged. Their blades met, alien energy versus human steel. Sparks and plasma filled the bridge. Troll struck with centuries of precision, but Rourke's movements were raw, instinctive, feral. Every motion carried the fury of billions who refused to die quietly. Finally, Trollus' blade came down in a perfect arc. Rourke caught it mid-air just like before. The Zorath officers froze. For an instant, The image mirrored that first moment in Kyoto, a human hand gripping light itself. Trull's eyes widened. Impossible! Rourke twisted, driving his own blade through the alien's core. The light in Trull's body flickered and went out. The war's end. When Echelon Prime fell, the signal rippled through the Dominion fleet. Their coordination fractured. Command nodes went silent. Across the skies, their ships began to retreat. From orbit, humans watched them flee. The mighty Zorath Dominion, undone not by numbers or weapons, but by one undeniable truth. You can't conquer a species that refuses to accept defeat. Weeks later, Earth began to heal. Cities were ash and dust, but life returned. Children played in craters that once burned with plasma fire. Human engineers worked side by side with reprogrammed Zorath drones, rebuilding the world from scratch. Rourke stood on a cliff overlooking the Pacific, his battered armor hanging from his shoulders. The sun, real, warm, and unfiltered by war, rose behind him. Sergeant Imani approached quietly. "You did it," she said. He shook his head. "We did. Every human who didn't give up did." "What now?" she asked. He watched the horizon for a long moment before replying. "Now we get ready. Because somewhere out there another empire's watching. And they'll think they can do better." Imani smiled. "Think they'll be smarter." Rourke smirked. "Doesn't matter. The moment they see what we did here, the moment they see a human catch a blade midair, they'll know." He turned to her, eyes hard but alive. "They already lost." Epilogue: the broadcast. Months later, across the Orion Arm, a recording spread through interstellar channels. The footage of a Terran soldier catching a Zorath plasma blade with his bare hand. Empires paused their conquests. Pirate lords, mercenaries, and planetary monarchs replayed it in disbelief. And one by one, they realized the same chilling truth. The humans had arrived on the galactic stage. And they weren't afraid of anything anymore. Indy.